Okay, down the Russian rabbit hole. Russian Thumpelskilskin, we know 2016, all of that, Russia, Russia, Russia. They've had a history since 1987. Apparently, that's when he was officially recruited with the KGB. That's coming from one of the KGB's leaders that spoke about it directly. Yeah, was groomed. He was set in the direction to become president a long time ago. The things that were manipulated between them and the Heritage Foundation and everyone else that got involved, and all of the religious organizations. Remember, every single one of these groups, from Russia to, the Baptists to, the Christians to, all of these, they have very specific, we've always wanted this but could never get it because it's too extreme and it would piss off too many people, like overturning Roe versus Wade. So you have these people who are appointed to like Supreme Court justice who aren't qualified, but the Congress and the Senate's all behind them, and blah, 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 and they have enough people on payroll or scared shitless to vote these idiots in, if only they could make it impossible for them not to be nominated. If only they could shut down every debate leading to that, so there's no official information in the public sphere about who these people actually are. Like, Emile Beauvais. But anyway, those types of things, you put these people in the Supreme Court, you can do things like get, say, immunity for anything that falls under the job description of being president, like declaring a national emergency when there's very, very dangerous situations with like these 14-year-olds all over the place wreaking havoc, or in Washington, D.C., when there's riots all over the place and the homeless problem is so bad that Donald Trump makes his executive decision to send in the National Guard, which is a huge thing because things have to be really, really, really batshit crazy for a president to send in the National Guard. Usually it's in conjunction with the governors and whatever. But if they federalize the National Guard, that's like extreme emergency, like, like a federal building's being attacked, or, the entire Capitol's being attacked, especially in D.C. They're prepared for all these terrorist, situations. And the National Guard is professionally trained. So if, say, the police had a problem with like a riot or something, the National Guard would automatically be sent. Which brings me to J6, when they said Nancy Pelosi was the only one who could send in the National Guard, and it was her problem that the National Guard wasn't sent in. And here's all the proof that Nancy Pelosi refused to send in. The president couldn't do anything about it. Well, looky. Now, MAGA, can you wake the hell up and recognize another part of this? Every single thing that he's cutting, every part of the budget that's being taken from Medicare, that's kicking off 17 million people, that's taking Social Security away from everybody in the hopes to privatize it, because the government has basically stolen the money of hardworking Americans since the first paycheck they ever got, that they earned from hard work, not a handout. That is what Social Security is supposed to be, to help you secure your retirement. And somehow, some way, the narrative of the GOPs and the Russian publicans, what they've done is somehow bastardize that whole thing like it's a drain on us, the taxpayers, when in fact it has nothing to do with the taxpayers. Besides paying into it, it's not a drain on the national debt. It's not anything. We know this. This has been, Ronald Reagan said it himself, but the narrative has to drive the anger. The anger has to drive the stupidity, and the stupidity has to be driven around with a red hat and a 4x4. But the bottom freaking line is there's not enough gold shoes in the world to help Grandpa, who's a veteran, who fought for ages for this tested new cancer drug that he was going to get, finally was approved to the FDA, and the funding was cut because everyone needs to save money these days and just suck it up, like Lindsey Graham says. Just for a little while, it'll be tough. But Daddy Trump will make it better. You're okay with that, right? Because you voted for him. Your grandpa could wait. And sorry, but all of the cancer patients aren't getting that medicine anymore because the trials were canceled because the funding is gone. So billionaires can get their tax breaks and oil changes for free on their jets. Are we great yet?